All right, guys. Appreciate everybody being here. Recap Saturday night. Obviously, a really good win for our program. A really cool moment for our university, our city, and obviously our football team. It was a cool night. A lot of really positive things came out of it. In the sense of our ability to one, just keep plugging through ups and downs of a game like that, through being behind, being up, then going back behind, and then in the fourth quarter being able to go finish defensively with back-to-back punts on back-to-back drives, and then offensively being able to go finish and put together a 2-minute drive at the end. Really, the 2-minute drive at the end of the first half, the 2-minute drive at the end of the game were both monumental in 2 field goals that you end up winning by 2. Obviously, the punt block forcing the safety was a huge play in the game. But you put it all together, the ability to just plug one drive at a time, offensively, a lot better on getting drives started. That was such a huge emphasis for us going in, was getting drives started and sustaining drives, being able to play on our tempo. I thought offensively handled the crowd noise incredibly well as anything I've been a part of. That's a credit to our offensive staff. It's a credit to, more than anybody, our players for handling it. We really had 2 procedural penalties, and both are preventable, but that's pretty good, especially as the game went and the crowd noise was what it was. Certainly a really cool environment to play in, and I thought between Byram, the offensive line, our skill guys, they handled it incredibly well. So huge credit to offensively being able to get that done, and then defensively, the ability to just play after play after play. We did a really poor job in the first half of stopping the run. I thought we were playing out of position a bunch. We were trying to do really way too much. I thought defensively settled down at half, and a credit to the defensive staff and certainly the leadership on our defense to kind of settle in. Eliminated a ton of the explosives in the pass game. That was obviously the focus. And then the ability to stop the run. And I'm so stinking proud of the last 2 drives of the game, because we bowed up and forced 2 punts when you had no other option but to force 2 punts. And really proud of them. So I thought we handled the time well with the timeouts. I thought we handled, more than anything else, the composure, really for the second week in a row, to not retaliate and be able to take the 15 yards, and we needed it. We needed the first down, and that kind of spurred that into that screen pass into a 2-minute drive. So really proud of the offense, the defense, and the special teams. There's so much on that film that needed to be cleaned up. We had a really long staff meeting Sunday morning, and truly went after as hard as we can the fine detail of what we need to clean up on all 3 sides of the ball to take another step in terms of operation, in terms of detail, and being able to go continue to prepare for a really good game on Saturday. So Sunday cleaned it up and then moved on, just got done with the Tuesday practice, getting ready for Miami. So Miami, really good football team. I know sound like a broken record in terms of the level of play. What stands out with those guys is truly the offensive and defensive lines are on another level. Offensively, super veteran offensive line, 4 starters back, and then the center is a heck of a player, came in as a veteran guy. But what they're able to do offensively starts there. It's we saw it a year ago in person, but they've gotten better and are incredibly well coached, tough, gritty, and play in sync, which is really tough to defend. And on the other side of the ball, the defensive front, man, really, really big, powerful, strong, fast. Like that will be the matchup that for us to be able to have success, we're going to have to equalize in some way, shape, or form. Offensively, quarterback, man, these first two games, really, really good. You watch him over the last couple of years, the kid's a winner. It don't take a whole lot to see the win-loss record for him, and that doesn't happen by accident. You like he's big, he's tall, he's got a twitchy release. The deep ball is really impressive. The intermediate game is really good, but really, really talented. I thought they had a really talented one that was playing for the Titans, and then here's this other one. He's really good. Really big at running back, powerful, strong, and then electric at wide out. They've got the freshman in the slot that's really dynamic and got size on the outside, but a really, really solid offense. And then defensively, like I said, I talked about the defensive front, linebackers, veteran group, can run, physical, big, and then the secondary, half those guys we got to play against last year, the other half, you got 2 games to watch. So defensively, obviously, the prep is a little bit unique. Coordinator is 2 games into his tenure there and was at Minnesota prior. So our guys are watching, obviously, Minnesota film, Miami film, but really well coached, play really hard. That's the one thing that you can see through these first 2 games is well coached, play really hard, run the football. And it'll be a challenge for us on, like I said, both sides of the line of scrimmage. Really good on special teams. Specialists are good. You could tell it's been turned up. The emphasis has been made on special teams. Their best players are on teams. They run, they hit. It's impressive to watch. So it'll be another week for us of being able to handle the travel, being able to handle the crowd noise, being able to handle an away environment. But it was certainly good to get that one under our belt on Saturday to be able to say, man, we handled that well. Here's where we could have handled it better and be able to teach off of it. I think anytime you have a win, the magnitude really irrelevant, but anytime you have a win, it gives you the opportunity to coach even harder in the sense of as guys feel really good, you want them to feel really confident, but it's easier to pinpoint and ticky-tack small things for opportunities to get better. I give our kids a ton of credit for taking the coaching. They've been really, really easy to coach. They're really, really engaged right now. And then more than anything, I think I give a lot of credit to our leadership on our team. You know, I said this back in August, we're going to go as our older guys go, certainly the guys that have played a ton of football. We've got 33 seniors. We got a bunch of older guys that have played a bunch of football. And if those guys could be our best leaders, on top of being our best players, we'll have a chance to do some really cool things. And through fall camp, through the first 2 weeks, those guys are our best players and also our best leaders right now. And as that's happened, you've seen some young guys emerge, but they've got elite examples of what it looks like. And that's ultimately how you build a winning program. And you do that over and over and over, class after class. And our guys right now are bought into that, and they're doing a really, really good job. So I'm proud of where we are. I'm proud of those older guys for doing a really, really good job of not just taking care of themselves and continue to grow in their process, but also teaching, guiding, bringing along young guys. Ultimately, Monday morning, truly put it to bed, got going on Miami with the players. Obviously, a majority of them were in here Sundays, watched the film, got it all cleaned up. We were able to get to Miami really quickly. This is also the first time for us this season where it's truly a real game week in the sense that you played Saturday and you play Saturday again. We had 2 weeks for the first game. We had the extra 2 days for the last game. So the word urgency is what you'll hear loudest throughout the building here starting on Sunday and for the 2 hours we were on the field today. Urgency, 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 urgency. The ability to lock in right now and go, because it's less time than honestly what they're used to in kind of a unique way. So That's us. I'll open it up to questions.
Alex, you mentioned young guys emerging. Alvin, Isaac, of course, being one of them. What did you see in him last year as he was biding his time behind a veteran group? And a couple of things that you felt he might have needed to work on through winter, spring, and then camp coming into the season?
Yeah, Vaughn, and I've talked about this before, but I think at those skill and big skill spots, the way you build real confidence is, one, if you don't put the guy out there too early, but if you can develop, get on special teams, have success on special teams, get confidence that way before you ever play offense or defense. I think when we throw guys in too early, if it doesn't go real well, it kills their confidence. Sometimes takes a year or two to actually get back. Vaughn was that young man. Like, Vaughn came in, he was playing all over the place at Hawthorne in terms of wide out, safety, some running back. To truly develop as a back, as an every down running back, from a pass protection side, from a vision side, being able to see things, hit them fast, that was going to take him time. Vaughn last year did a bunch for us on special teams. And that's where, as the year went last year, he played gunner, he played on punt block, he played on kickoff return, he ran down on kickoffs. He's a really good football player. He was always a really good football player. And as he was doing that and building confidence in himself, he was also getting bigger, stronger, and learning how to play running back. And, we thought at the end of the year, man, like, he's got a real shot to go do some special things. Had a really good winter and spring and summer with Gio and his staff, as he did with Micah, and being able to continue and to develop as truly a running back. I think it helped him in the spring because our numbers were lower. He was able to get a ton of reps, got some with the ones, got some with the twos, got some with the threes, and had a really, really good spring. For him, it was a matter of continuing to put weight on. Protectionally is where you always get nervous when a guy isn't truly what he's going to end up being. And because the linebackers ain't getting any smaller, you know what I mean? Like they're getting bigger, they're getting faster, and that's who you end up matched up on. And the way we play offensively, like those matchups, they got to work or you got some problems. And he's gotten stronger, he's gotten bigger. He's still got a ways to go in terms of physically developing, but he came in so confident and got some action at running back in week one, was a player on every special team for us, and a really good one, won the return job, was returning kicks for us. And man, like, that confidence after week one for him was sky high. And then went into this game, you saw we ended up riding him. He was kind of the hot hand in that 2-minute drill, but really, really dynamic with the ball in his hands, really confident right now. And for him, truly, literally had a conversation walking out to the field, like, detail. It's got to be elite. And he knows it, and he's confident. He's a fun young guy to coach, and he's like the true journey of what you want from young guys to old guys. You saw it with Jaquan Smith. You saw it with Keyshawn Singleton. You saw it with Fred Gaskin. You saw it with James Chenault. Like, these guys, special teams to offense or defense, and then they just continue to go and go and go. It's really kind of cool to watch.
What have you been most impressed about with Byron through 2 games? I mean, there's a lot to be impressed about. What's impressed you the most?
Yeah, I think just the poise, the ability to keep resetting. There's been some really, really good. There's been some not so good. Man, he has got such a humble approach to his process. He's so bought into his daily habits are going to result in something really positive on the field. We got back late Saturday night, 10 a.m. Sunday, there he is. Like, and the demeanor is like nothing happened 12 hours ago. Like, we'll sit down, clean up the game. I want to get going on Miami. Like, just this consistent demeanor. He's that way on the field. You saw some incredible plays. You saw a couple that you're like, man, like, you want those back, and it's literally the same every single time. The way he handled the crowd noise portion of being able to change cadences and being able to communicate, because it's different. You saw some, like, you're playing a little bit different. The communication's different. and there was zero flinch. And you'd like to say he's been in that environment 100 times. He hasn't, but zero flinch. I think what he's done with his play style, and we've obviously had to run him a little bit. Part of it is the structures we're getting. Part of it is he's too good not to. He's so dynamic with the ball in his hands. He just his ability to go from play to play, from getting hit, delivering a hit, to then being able to drop back pass, and then the understanding of what the defense is doing and how they're defending him. It's just on another level right now. He's playing really, really confident. I think when you see his level of play from a physicality standpoint, from a mental and physical toughness standpoint, the defense sees it too. Certainly the guys around him offensively see it, but the defense sees it and feels it too. There's a sense of urgency that gets raised in the entire program when your quarterback is doing what he's doing. And he understands that, and he's mature enough now to handle it and take it in stride.
You talked about this in this social media age where everybody seemingly is building their brand and telling their own story, and it's just everybody's out there about, as you get more attention, let other people tell the story of this team. You don't have to say a word, just let them tell the story. Could you speak more about the importance of that?
Yeah, I told our guys the Wednesday night before we played Boise on Thursday, we spent so much time through the summer, through camp, talking about our identity. What is our identity? For the first time in my 3 years here, I felt comfortable enough to lay it out there. What I truly want to be the identity of this program. Internally, we knew what it was, and your bits and pieces, you're preaching and selling and showing and teaching and preaching and selling but to be able to put it up, talk through it, and then through fall camp be able to show real life examples of what it is. Spent so much time talking about identity. And identity, you have to be able to see it. Not necessarily a journalist who covers it and understands it, but the average fan has got to be able to see us play and say, man, these guys are physically and mentally tough. Man, these guys are poised. This looks like a focused team. This looks like a detailed team. They don't do anything to hurt themselves. They look like a team that's locked into winning in the margins. More importantly than anything, they look like a physically and mentally tough football team. I think we have at times, throughout this building, but it was the first time we challenged them that it has to be that on every single snap, because they were ready for it, because of the leadership, because of the experience, and because they've been together, and we as a staff have been together. They were ready for that. And Wednesday night before we played Boise, I said, listen, there's so many really cool stories in here, and pointed some guys out. There's so many individual stories. I said, everybody right now in this day and age in our game wants to tell it themselves. Man, I'm going to post it on Instagram, on X, on TikTok. It's me. Look at my story. This is what I'm doing. These are pictures of me. I get it. You got to build your brand. There's an NIL component to it. I'm all in. So when it's really powerful is when somebody else tells your story, because you're relevant to be told. Your story is relevant to be told. That's powerful. Essentially, go play and let somebody else tell your story. And we kind of continued that narrative. And on Monday, I said, man, there's a lot of people who want to tell our story right now, but we're not even anywhere, we're not even in the first third of it. So keep your mouth shut. We talked about humility in a lot of ways, what that really means and what it looks like for us. And put your phones down, put your social media down, and let these people tell your story, because your identity is out on display. And right now you have a platform and a stage to do it. So let your identity tell the story. Cliche, maybe, but it's true. There's a lot more people in here today, more cameras back there. So it's our ability to tell our story because of what we're putting on the field. But you can't stop doing it, or Be way less cameras and way less people.
Coach, after the game on Saturday, we saw your family was in attendance, and you're talking about stories. What about your story? Can you talk about your story for a minute? Because there's a lot of eyes on that too.
Yeah, you asked that because you know I hate talking about myself. Yeah, really, and I saw probably 4 people in my family sent me your video, which is pretty cool. I appreciate you getting that. I don't know. I feel like every time I see them after a cool moment, I get emotional. I don't know why. I think for me, one, they're super important to me, but you sometimes forget in this craziness that they're going through it too. And for them to be able to enjoy that, like, they sacrifice way more than, and I know I've said this before, but like I get to go to work with my best friends every day, and sometimes my wife will joke and say, "Man, like you guys just hang out all day," but I get to hang out with some really, really cool men and women that I trust, that trust me, that as you go through and you work however many hours a day we work, you grow to love each other, and it's a really, really cool atmosphere. But they're at home, they're living their lives, and my wife is such a stinking trooper. She just picked up and moved and restarted life, and those moments for me a lot of the time get me emotional because I just know how much they've sacrificed and never, ever, ever have complained. She actually stopped asking when I'm coming home. It took like 12, 13 years to get there, but just how they go through it. They live through it. They live through the ups and downs. They see the social media stuff. They go to school. They got people talking, and they go through the ups and downs. So when they get to reap the reward of a cool moment like that, I get emotional. I don't know why, because they live through it.
Alex, in terms of establishing your culture here and getting the players to buy in, how important are these wins in terms of doing that? Because if players buy in, but if they don't see results, they're going to start to question. So how important are these 2 wins in those terms?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, we talk so much about being process driven. When you're process driven and not emotionally attached to an end result, they really don't matter in the sense of how you go about your business. I'd be naive to say, man, it doesn't help to have proof of concept, right? So it does. But when it's easy after a loss to say, man, like we got to revert back to our process and we got to clean this up and clean this up. Well, if you only do that after a loss, but after a win, you're like, hey, we've arrived, we're good, then it's all BS. But when you truly believe that that's how you build sustainable culture, is to be process driven and not outcome driven, you go right back to your daily habits and your daily process. So does it help to have proof of concept? Yes. But ultimately, it shouldn't matter. What I told our guys, and I told them in the locker room after the game, I told them again Sunday, I told them again Monday, I told them again just now, and I do have their attention in that regard, is if you went into that game and you were clear-minded and focused, you physically felt really good, you felt like you ran well, you felt like you were in a really good place mentally and physically, rinse and repeat your process. Don't change. Rinse and repeat it. If you felt like, man, I wasn't clear-minded, or I was anxious or distracted, or physically I didn't have my legs under me, or in any capacity I wasn't at an elite level, not pretty good, elite, then we got to fix your process. My job, your coach's job, our support staff's job, to help you fix your process. But you got to be all the way bought in. And that's anything from the way you're eating, to the way you're sleeping, to the amount of time you're sleeping, to how much time you're sitting there staring at your phone, to your interactions with your teammates, to the distractions outside of here, your girlfriends, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your coach. Like, that's why we talk about inner circle so much. Right now, the only people that are telling you the ultimate truth are your coaches, your teammates. That's it. Everybody else don't matter. They matter in the sense of they're your family or they're your buddies or whatever, but their job is to hype you up. Our job is to be real and help you get your process to an elite clip. And when you go right back to being process driven, then the end result really doesn't ultimately matter. It matters in the grand scheme of wins and losses, but individually it doesn't.
A former Heisman winner, RG3, has Byron Brown rated as his #1 Heisman candidate through 2 weeks. Do you think Byron deserves Heisman consideration?
That's probably for other people to figure out. I know Byram is playing really, really good football through, you said it, 2 weeks. There's 12 guaranteed opportunities. I think that's a conversation for later. Is he playing really, really well? Yes. Is he one of the best college football players that I've been around? Yes. Is he mentally, physically tough? Yes. He's operating at a really, really good clip. If you ask Byram, he would tell you he's got a ton to work on. Sunday, he had a ton to work on. Today, he had a ton to work on. That's for other people to figure out and really way later in the season.
Coach, when you look down, I think Coach Amir is looking down and saying, great job, but don't forget what got you here. Trust the process, trust the ride.
I think I know Coach Amir is looking down, and he said, put your headphones on.
Two games, only time the other team scored, short field, 38 yards, 20 yards. What's been the biggest shift defensively? Is it just guys being in the right spot at all times, execution, the players? What's been the biggest shift that you've seen from last year to this year through 2 games?
I think several things. One, we got to eliminate the short fields, right? That's one. That would help. One of those was penalty-based and a lack of focus on special teams. But those guys on that side of the ball right now are uber bought into the identity of what we want to be defensively, which is the identity we want to be as a team. Physically and mentally tough, trust within each other, focused at all times. There's still a ton to clean up, like a ton to clean up. Like I said, we went the first half of that game, they were rushing for over 5 yards a carry. That ain't good defense. There was 5 explosive passes given up. You can compare it to whatever you want. That ain't the standard either. So if you ask Todd Orlando, you ask Mac Harris, Jalen Schuler, Tavin Ward, they would tell you we got a long, long way to go. What has happened on defense is these guys are bought into each other, they're bought into their daily process, and they're sacrificing so much right now to just run for each other. That's been the challenge since January, to have a 4th and inches mentality, which is a level of grit and toughness that you would have in a critical situation, but we're asking them to have it for 80 plays a game, over and over and over and over, and be unselfish enough that we can sub some guys in and you're good on the sideline until you get back in. Challenge for those guys is to run and hit for each other, and right now they are, while being detailed and focused on their jobs. But it takes one really bad week, it takes one really bad process to flip all that on its head. So we're just continuing to plug and continue to coach the heck out of detail to make sure that we continue to play really good defense, especially an opponent like this where offensive line, elite, quarterback, elite, running backs, elite, wideouts, elite. You're going to have to play really, really good ball. But they're playing with a really, really cool confidence right now. The only way you have real confidence is if your prep and your process is elite. You trust that it was. You never cheated it. And then you trust that the guy next to you and the guy next to him and the guy next to him also had an elite process. And then in turn, you guys run and hit for each other. It's pretty cool to watch when it's right. And right now, they're playing really confident because they're pouring into it.
Alex, you mentioned the explosive pass game of Florida. What did you guys do defensively to kind of? It sounds like you weren't thrilled with how you guys did there, but at least to somewhat keep it in check.
Yeah, I don't want to say I wasn't thrilled. I thought we did a really good job for a team that thrives off of it. That was a huge point of emphasis, was that you have to be able to get your underneath coverage, underneath all these crossers and posts, and being able to pass these deep overs over without just straight up playing man and saying, man, we're just going to go guy for guy, and that's how we're going to do it. I thought schematically, and I give T.O., Rowe, DVD, KP, Chad, Coach Wilson, like I give those guys a ton of credit. Schematically, we were right in what we were doing. Like I said, in the first half, specifically in the run game, guys were so amped that like it was going to be, everybody was going to make a play. And that's what I mean by focus, to your question. Like, no. Like, we're going to play really hard, but your job, like do your job, be in your gap when you're supposed to be there. So I thought that we had a really good plan, and I thought the guys were bought into the plan and executed really well. It was a matter of getting the underneath coverage back far enough and then being able to rush the passer to the point where it wasn't just sit there, set up, and chuck it, where he had to be uncomfortable, where you took the first read away and made him work to a second read, and as he worked to a second read, the rush was able to get there and affect him. I thought we did a really good job, specifically with the underneath coverage. Obviously, the corners and the safeties did a good job as well, but the underneath stuff, being able to take these crossers away was really big, especially when that's what you thrive on.
Alex, you alluded to this in your opening statement, but the play at the end where the Gator player spit on your guy, a lot of players would have retaliated at that point. What was it about Cole that helped him keep cool in that moment?
Yeah, it's been hammered about as hard as you possibly can. We obviously, through our prep, through fall camp, spring, anytime a situation comes up, it ain't all sunshine and rainbows out there either, but every time a situation comes up, we coach the heck out of what composure looks like, what discipline looks like. We haven't been perfect here by any means, but we coach the heck out of it. Anytime it happens somewhere else, we coach the heck out of it. Mondays, Thursdays, we show real situations, some football related, they're all football related, but some schematic related, primarily situation related, 2-minute situations, helmet off situation, use of timeout situations. A lot of the time they are composure situations, guys running into the end zone and dropping the ball before they cross the goal line. Anytime there's a situation that comes up, we show it and we talk through it and we make the guys talk through it. Ironically enough, you had a great teach clip the week before, or a couple of days before, at the highest level of that happening, whatever happened, but you were able to show like it's always the second guy that gets caught. And for us, winning in the margins is not killing yourself, is not costing yourself self-inflicted wounds. Penalties, post-whistle penalties, are the absolute number one sign of a non-composed football team. And one guy represents the entire group. And we've had 2 incidents. We had one in the Boise game that led to a first down touchdown with Keyshawn, and we had another situation in this game that led to a first down field goal. Again, to your question earlier, like here's proof of concept. Here's composure leads to success. Be composed. It's really hard to do. I give Cole a lot of credit, give Keyshawn a bunch of credit. We put it up again in our team meeting on Monday that this is the elite way to handle it. Let the refs handle it, take the yards. That's winning in the margins. Keep it moving.
Coach, the first 2 games, you've never been behind by more than a score. How important is it for 60 minutes you can stay on the game plan and not have to go into crisis mode?
Yeah, I hope you never have to go into crisis mode, but it's been super positive. Complementary football has been easier to play that way when you're not behind. Like, it'd be nice to be ahead at some point here.
Coach, not only do you had a good win against Florida, but around your conference, Army and Tulane particularly had good non-conference wins. How do you think these kind of things stack up and affect the view of the American nationally when you can put these things together?
Man, Joe, you're like way ahead of me. I don't know. We got Miami this week. It's awesome. Great for everybody else. I don't know that it matters to us right now. Just gotta go get ready to play Miami.
You mentioned post-game, the screen that Alvin Isaac, you talked about switching it up, looking back, a lot of early down screens. Over the last couple of years, it's kind of been a staple of this offense. How much do you think about, all right, maybe we got to switch it up for a second down? I know a lot of people kind of resort to third down screens. What's been maybe your philosophy on maybe pulling out a screen or doing something a little bit counter to what is the norm offensively?
Yeah, I mean, we study so much in the off season of more than anything ourselves. We then study ourselves every Sunday night in terms of what are we doing. We're as hard as imaginably possible trying to within who we are systematically continue to grow, evolve, and make the self-scout as even as you can ever imagine in terms of run pass, in terms of tendencies, in terms of all of the alignments, splits, sets, backs, tight ends, all of it. We spend a ton of time to essentially as if we were getting ready to play ourselves so that it's as hard as imaginably possible to figure out what we're doing while still being able to operate and play fast. We spent a ton of time in the offseason studying us and then saying, man, what are we missing? Where are we predictable? Where are we not good enough in terms of what we have package-wise? I mean, we look drastically different right now than we did a year ago. We look drastically different than the year before, than the place I was at. You kind of evolve. I mean, you truly have to build around your players. That's where it starts, players first in terms of where are you trying to go with the ball? Who are you trying to get the ball to? How do you protect up front? What do you run well up front? Because everybody talks about a system. Well, the system is our true identity of who we are. We play really fast. We make you defend the whole field. We make it really unpredictable, whether it's run or pass. We force you to defend every inch of the field, both horizontally and vertically, and we force you to do it really fast and make elite decisions really quickly, both as a play caller and as a guy playing. The plays themselves are designed to get the playmakers the ball as fast as you can in as much space as you can. That's not like a secret, right? Like that everybody has a different philosophy on it, but that's our philosophy. The actual plays consistently change. They've changed year to year. They've changed week to week. I said after the first week, I thought on P and 10, part of it was the plan wasn't great, and part of it wasn't executed great. But if it wasn't executed great, that's on us as coaches to get it to where it can be executed great. It was a huge focus for us. We got to continue to grow and evolve offensively, just like we do defensively, to be honest with you, to not be predictable while still allowing our guys to play really fast.
One of the biggest plays in that game last week was when the Florida player spit, I think it was Cole Spinner, I think he spit in Cole Spinner's face. Your player didn't react at all. He just stood there. I mean, he could have, just got into someone. What does that say about this team and the discipline and stuff that you're trying to instill?
Yeah, it just says through 2 weeks, we were composed in those situations. Got to keep doing that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate everybody being here.
How we doing? Morning.
Senator West, questions? Cole, are you on the field goal team, by the way?
I am not.
So you are watching this from the sideline.
Yes.
What was going through your mind?
To be completely honest, I knew Nico was going to make it. And the last time I was in the swamp and the game came down to that situation, it didn't go how we wanted. So when we had come off of the field after that drive And I kind of saw the look in Nico's eyes. I was like, man, we got him.
There wasn't any look of fear. You guys didn't blink the whole game.
No,
Whole different mentality from last year, isn't there?
absolutely. Absolutely.
I asked the coach about this, and now I'll ask you. The play where Cole Skinner had spit in his face, he didn't retaliate, kept his cool. What is it about him that helped him stay in the moment?
Right. I think it speaks a lot to our culture and where we've worked to get as a program. And I give Cole Skinner a lot of credit personally as well. I even told him right after the play, like, man, that just saved us, you being smart. So I think, he's a very level guy. He's very in control of his emotions. And I never had any doubt that he would retaliate. But, I mean, getting spit on in the face, that's probably the most disrespectful thing you could do to another person. So speaking to his character and our culture and how we carry ourselves, I was just beyond proud of him in the way that he handled that. And it ended up paying off huge for us in the end.
Could be one of the plays that makes your season.
Exactly, for sure.
Coach was talking about how impressive Miami looks on both sides of the line, offensive and defensive lines. When you look at their defensive front, what do you see?
I see a group of guys, they play really hard. They're disciplined. The thing that stands out to me about them is they're actually one of the less complex teams we play in terms of blitzes and all the exotic stuff that they do, which is very different from Florida, like the team we saw last week. I think it speaks a lot to the athletes that they do have. They trust their guys to go get the job done without having to junk up the box and do all the crazy stuff. But I think, they play really hard. They got some really good players up front, very disciplined. And if we go do our job, we'll be right where we want to be.
Cole, you mentioned the situation with Cole and sorry about that. The professionalism, the level of
Yes, sir.
poise and professionalism with which you guys seem to be going about everything. That doesn't happen unless veteran leaders like yourself are helping pull the young guys up.
Absolutely.
And if you could talk about that and how important it has been for leaders like yourself to do that on a consistent basis.
Right. So, like, as leaders, we talk about every week about composure. And we talk also about every week, you never know which play is, the one that you can't get back. And I think last week was a great example of that. You hear a lot of these veteran leaders, myself included, when we get into these situations, when it gets chippy with the D-line, like, man, it's about us. And there's guys all over just reminding, it's about us. If they want to talk, let them talk. Let them do what they want. It doesn't matter. It's about us. If you have a problem with the guy, you go handle it in the play, between the lines. The post-play, talking, fighting, we don't do that here. It's not what we're about. And it's a huge credit to the culture that we've built here and the culture that has been, brought on every day by our older guys and our leadership.
Why do you think USF has seen such success this season?
Right. Man, I think it all goes into how we have bought in to the true culture here. And when I say buy in, I mean truly buy in. This journey started 3 seasons ago. I remember when Coach Golesh and them got here, we had 8 offensive linemen, guys leaving, guys coming in. It was like, man, it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. And I think we've got the right guys in the program. I know that Coach Golesh is very guarded against who he brings in and who he trusts to bring in from a personality and a character standpoint. So I think it's a collective buy-in from everybody involved. It goes into the senior leadership and it goes into all the things that we harp on. And at the end of the day, it's like really cool because you go watch the film and obviously we have a lot of playmakers, but there's nobody, which there has been in the past, there's nobody going outside of their play style trying to be a superhero. Guys are just going out and doing their job. We trust the game plan that these coaches bring. We trust our ability. And when we go out and just do our job and execute, we win every day.
I'm not sure if you saw this, but RG3, former Heisman winner, has Byron Brown as his Heisman frontrunner right now through 2 weeks. Why do you think Byron Brown deserves to be a Heisman candidate?
I'm going to start with his personality. I think he's one of the best personalities you'll ever be around. He's a true leader. Obviously, his play speaks for itself. He's a phenomenal player in every facet of the game, but he's a true-born leader. I believe he makes guys around him better, not just in the quarterback room, but in the O-line room, the receiver room. I think even on the defensive side of the ball, I know a lot of guys look up to him, and just with his phenomenal skill set and his athleticism and the way that he goes and finishes games and leads his team, I mean, he's got my vote.
Good. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
know you want to get a stop as much as possible, but holding teams to field goals, does that almost feel like a stop?
Yes and no. We always want to have a goose egg up there, but as long as we can hold them to a field goal, I think that's something we emphasize this offseason, especially in the red zone. So, like, we've emphasized red zone and third down defense because obviously that's, like, some of the most important downs than others. So, just being able to, like, slow a team down and help our offense get every chance they can to score because we know we got a lights-out offense. So, I mean, sometimes they might be in a slump, but as long as we got their back, I think as a team collectively, if we can do that, our offense will, like last week, find a spark and then get us up.
If I'm reading the stats right, you got 5.5 tackles each game.
Yes, sir.
Don't expect that out of a cornerback, do you?
Yes, sir. Usually a lot of people would think, like, if a corner's making a lot of tackles, it pretty seems like he's getting killed. He's making a lot of tackles on the outside, getting the ball caught on him. But T.O., Coach Rowe, DVD, they love my aggression. They love to see me make tackles, and they trusted me. So anytime a coach trusted me, I go out there with my full ability and just
Have you
give
ever
everything
had a
I got.
bigger one than that third down slant to keep that guy from getting the first down?
Maybe I can't think right now, but that was a pretty good one for me to get started, get the team going, hold Florida to 3, and obviously our offense come back and get 3 as well. So it felt pretty good.
What do you think of when you look at Miami on tape?
Offensively, I think it's one of the best receiver corps we're going to go against this year. We see a lot of aggression in their blocking game. The teams we faced with Boise and Florida, they like to run the ball, but their receivers weren't really aggressive in the run game. We see that spark out a lot more with this Miami team. So it's going to be like a little more aggression, that's something we're accepting, and we're going to face that challenge. Run game, the 2 running backs, they got a running back coach that was here. He was also at Tennessee with me as well, so he's a pretty good coach. We see, like, those guys are running hard, so we know we're going to wrap up and drive our feet. But, I mean, overall, they look good. You got Carson Beck as a quarterback, experienced guy who's in the SEC for a long time, played for a really good coach. So, I mean, they got a lot of experience, good transfers. I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's something we've been looking for.
Have you seen anything on film through 2 games with Carson that maybe is a little bit different than what he was at with Georgia, confidence-wise? Anything that kind of stands out, improvements?
Honestly, I think he's just out there trying to prove a point. Obviously, we saw him kind of get benched, or he got hurt, and then we saw Gunnar Stockton kind of take that spot. So, honestly, I'm expecting him to, like, give it all he got. He's coming out here to prove a point that he's still that guy, still one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So I'm just expecting his best ball moving forward.
Golesh said that one of the keys going into the Florida game was your defense limiting their explosive pass plays. When you went back and looked at the film, what kind of jumped out to you about your ability to do so as a unit?
I think it was really the experience. And Coach Rowe, Coach DVD, they believe in us a lot. And I think looking at DJ Lagway, his arm strength was very big. When we looked on film, they run, play action. When they play action, like, he's throwing it deep. And so you can see that coming out. And, I mean, Coach Rowe, Coach DVD, they challenged us, like, especially as the corner room stay on top. And you see James Chenault with an interception and a deep ball. So, like, we already knew those balls were coming. The coaches challenged us, and we just took up the challenge and tried to make every play that possible.
Deshaun, Coach said that you spent Sunday cleaning up a lot of things. What do you want to see cleaned up defensively before you head down to Miami?
I think that run game is pretty important. I think at the beginning of that game, I think Florida got whatever they wanted in the run game, and I think it kind of had us looking a little stuck at first, but obviously Coach T.O. cleaned it up, and we came. But I think coming into this game with, like, a Miami team that has a lot of momentum going to their house, I think stopping the run game is going to be pretty important. So I think that's something big.
How pumped up do you get for big games like this?
I mean, for me, honestly, like, it's I love these games. It's like my expectation of playing these games like that. It's a big reason I came here. I saw a lot of opportunities from last year, like playing Bama, Miami last year, and then this year we had a gauntlet, you could say, in the 3 games. So, like, this is the expectation when you're coming here. We're trying to set a new standard here. trying to make us one of the big names in college football. So I get really excited about these games because we get out there to prove a point.
Why do you think you guys have seen so much success this season?
Fourth quarter. I think going into this year, the difference from last year was like we're coming together as like a brotherhood, and we're going into the fourth quarter like going in there like nobody can stop us, and we all tell each other like turn it up another notch. And I think that's been like a big difference because you can see on a lot of games like whether these 3 games like Boise State, it was like tight, and then the more you go down, like we run away from them, and then the second game you see it's tight, and then we keep fighting, and the offense had a great 2-minute run. But I mean, as long as we keep fighting and turn it up in the fourth quarter, we're just gonna fight it to the end.
You're ranked for the first time since 2018. The only team with back-to-back wins against ranked opponents. How are you guys handling all the national attention right now?
Honestly, we're not looking at it. We're not really trying to get into all that. We're honestly just moving each game forward. Not really trying to do that. I think that's where a lot of teams mess up, like a lot of distractions. I think like being at my last school, I think that was a big issue as well. Just like having all that spotlight, like whether it's college game day or just having a lot of people talk about your name. I think it's like, it feels good. And that's where it messes you up. Once you get that feel good and you just start to settle and like kind of think you've arrived. But we've all harped like, we haven't arrived yet. We still got a lot to prove. Still haven't even done conference play, so we still got a lot to attack this year.
Okay, I'll let Deshaun go. He's got to get the clock.
Thank you, I appreciate it.